Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, and a heartfelt welcome to each one of you, no matter which part of the world you are joining us from. I am Jannat Ahmed, Head of Human Resources at Women Ascension, and I'm truly honored to be your moderator for this amazing and inspiring session hosted by Women Ascension. And it's titled as Resiliencia, Nutre Alma, Feeding the Soul Through Resilience and Hope. At Women Ascension, we believe in creating spaces that uplift voices and transformation, healing, and empowerment. And today we are joined by someone who truly exemplifies that spirit. Please join us in warmly welcoming Ms. Martie M. Smith, an international award-winning and best-selling author. She's a resilience ambassador, U.S. veteran, and a creative visionary. Ms. Martie has dedicated her life to turning adversity into strength and helping others do the same. Through her books, speeches, and workshops, she inspires individuals to transform pain into power and pursue dreams with purpose. Her acclaimed works, such as Creative Chaos Warrior and La Resiliencia Nutre Alma, showcase her extraordinary storytelling ability and her commitment to teaching life changing skills rooted in hope and resilience. And she has also been recognized as the top resilience ambassador of the year by the International Association of Top Professionals. Miss Marty blends creativity, empathy, and visionary thinking to connect with audiences across the globe. Her mission is as powerful as it is personal. It's to inspire, equip, and transform lives and help others build a legacy that thrives beyond the storm. So wherever you are in the world today, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining and showing up. So let's open our hearts and minds as we welcome the incredible Miss Marty to lead us on this soulful journey of resilience and hope. Just a quick reminder, everyone, as always, we will open the floor for a quick Q&A segment towards the end. So feel free to take notes and prepare your questions as we go along. Ms. Marty, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Janet, for having me here. I'm honored to be here, especially going across the globe with the message of resilience. For the longest time, I felt like I was not heard. And I was called a mistake when I was 7 years old by my mother. So that it sounds terrible when it happens as a child, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Why? Because it planted a seed in me to want to figure out what was it that made me tick? What was it that made me thrive? And how can I overcome all these hardships that I had? I've moved 49 times in my lifetime. I've had 28 surgeries. I've been in a wheelchair, but God had a bigger purpose for me. So now I feel a calling, and it's to live my mission, my passion, and my purpose. I'm 66 years old. I started late, but it's never too late. Either way, I want to be here to share. First of all, welcome everyone. That I want to remind you that we didn't come, or we are not here on this earth as broken beings. We are here as brave souls discovering that the lives that are in us already, the answers aren't out there, they're within us. The difference is having the ability, the power to look at yourself and answer the hard questions with what it is that you want to live and do. So this isn't just a lesson, it's a circle of remembrance, because deep down inside you carry the light you're seeking. So my first question is, what is resilience? Resilience just isn't about bouncing back. It's about growing forward. It's a spiritual muscle that needs to be strengthened. Just like you work out with your body, you have to work your soul, you have to work your mind, you have to work your heart. So when they're all aligned, that's when you were able to discover what your essence is about. And so think of a moment. Now I ask the audience to think of a moment where you thought you wouldn't survive, that it was all over. Well, you did. So what did it teach you? That's the questions we need to ask. Not, oh my God, my life is over. I can't deal with this. I don't want to see it, because that's what causes us to shut down. That's what makes us blinder to the ability to find solutions. That's what makes us worry and doubt, and we're hard on ourselves. We're our worst enemies when that happens. So shift the script, turn it around and ask yourself, what is the lesson this adversity is teaching me? When I started doing that, I was like, I have nothing to complain. Why was I so miserable? Why was I so hard on myself? Yes, bad things happen, but good things happen because of the bad things. We have to find the goodness in our lives. Every day we have to be grateful we're alive, that we can still reason, that we can still walk, that we can still see, feel, and hear. So our purpose is to coexist with the world, but we also each have individual contributions that we can share with them. And how do we share those contributions? I discovered that because of all the bad things that happened to me, the best things could be shared by saying, I learned from this. I was able, but look at all that I've overcome. Look at all that I've surpassed. Look at all that I am becoming, because now I don't have those blocks. Now I see myself as growing and knowing that I have a purpose, a mission, and a passion. And because of all that, I'm building a legacy, which I want to leave the world a little better than I found it. And that's what I think most of us want to do. We don't ever admit it. We don't think we can do it, but that's the biggest thing that makes us strong and determined to do something worthwhile. So your survival is not your whole story. It's just the soil for something new to be planted, like a seed. What did I learn from this lesson? And then you'll see it sprout and say, okay, I'm never going to do it that way again. But I know if I go around this way, I call it like a photographer. You stand in front of the subject and it's not quite the picture, but then you get to decide, oh yeah, that's what I want. So that's how you have to face any bad adversity or any problems that you have. You have to be able to define what you can control, let go of what is not in your control, and at the same time ask for help, even if it's small suggestions or whatever, but be very weary or leery of the people you ask suggestions for, because some of that environment can be toxic and can add to the adversity. Instead, surround yourself. So that's why they say the five people you are surrounded by, that's the average way you are too. You absorb who you're around with. If you were standing with a bunch of negative people, you're going to be your worst enemy. I know, because I lived it. And I'm only telling you what I've lived. I'm not saying this is the expert way to do things. Yes, they call me a resilience ambassador. Yes, they call me an expert, because I've learned to shuffle all the stuff. But each and every one of us has that one way of saying, this is for me. This is how I need to do. This is where I stand. This is my virtues, my values, and my whole being that I want to. And you draw the line. You set the limits. So something that's very important is how your day goes. So if you wake up in the morning with gratitude, you always have to, I speak affirmations. It's kind of like I'm already planning my day and saying, okay, today's going to be a good day. It might be challenging, it might be whatever, but I'm going to learn something. At the end of the day, I look at my day and I say, okay, this didn't quite work out. Maybe tomorrow I can look at a different way of doing it. So we're always having to strive, or I'm always striving for my best version the next day. I didn't do it right yesterday, but that doesn't mean I can't do it right tomorrow. So always give your chance an opportunity to say, okay, let me try again in a different way. Let me find help to get it done. Let me read about it. Let me experiment, because we are an experiment in this world. Sometimes we don't even know we could do stuff. All of a sudden, someone tells you something, and you look at them like, they're crazy. They don't know what I've been through, but no, those are the people that detect the very talents and treasures in you. Those are the people that open up your mind and your heart to something new that you may not even be aware of. That's how I became an author. Yes, I wanted to write a book, but I thought you had to be William Shakespeare to write your book. I didn't know that I was going to be on my 15th book. I had no idea. I started a children's series, and what made me say, okay, I could do this? The more simpler my language is, I started the children's series. If I can explain it to kids, anybody can understand. And so that makes you more confident when you start seeing that machines start working and saying, okay, I did this, then maybe I could do that. And you open your eyes, your mind, and your heart. And I'm telling you, the joy that you feel when you feel so powerful, because it is a power within us, then you're like, nothing can stop me. I can be invincible. I can be perseverant. I can be determined to dream and set my goals, small steps, baby steps along the way, but always able to see I made progress. And when you look back and you see all the progress you've made, then you say, okay, I haven't done a thing. Let's get going. Let's get busy, because you realize just to what extent you were shutting yourself down from not believing in yourself. So one thing that I think is important is to keep like a hope board or a vision board, like what you really want in life. It helps you plan your dreams. And you can put pretty pictures everywhere, but they have to be meaningful for you, and they have to trigger something that makes you say, "Oh, let me try this. Let me see it this way." And when I did it 5 years ago, and now I'm like, I need to come up with no more dreams, more things to do, because it's that simple. Life is simple. We complicate the hell out of it because of what we hear, what we say, what people say, who we surround ourselves with. Stop. You're on your own. You're on your own here. You determine what makes you break. You determine what makes you stronger, and you determine where you want to go. Nobody can force you to do anything. I don't know why they say, oh, this person made me do it. No, you believe that that person made you do it, but it's not the actuality. So when we stop lying to ourselves, reduce those limiting beliefs, will open up the vision to see better, to have more clarity, to understand that people are different. We're all going at a different pace. We're not all bright eyed and bushy tailed. Some of us are slow, but when we start moving and we start advancing, then you're like, wow, I can't believe I did all that. So this from a person that never wanted to get in front of a camera. When you see the person you see now, I don't even recognize myself. It's just like, wow, why didn't I do this sooner? Why didn't I stop all the garbage in my brain and say, okay, this is possible? And the thing about me, okay, yes, I've won numerous awards and I appreciate the recognition, but here's the thing. If I did it, I know there's numerous people that could do it much better than me, because they're young, their strength, their perseverance, whatever. They have the ability to pick up people with them and put them under their wing and do the same thing. So that it's not about getting to the top, it's about bringing everyone to the top with you. Anyway, I also wanted to share a story about my dad. My dad had Alzheimer's. I had not seen my family in 8 years. Okay. My dad had Alzheimer's, and I came to the hospital to see what to do. My mom didn't even call me. That's how strained our relationship was. But I said, no, I can't live with the guilt of not seeing my father. I went. It was the best thing in the world that happened to me. I discovered Dad had Alzheimer's, but I also discovered he was my father. Like, I felt my father before me. To me, that was an awesome feat. And the wild part about it is he didn't say a word. He was already, overcome with Alzheimer's, but I felt his love. And I felt like, wow, this is cool. Why did it take something so bad to get to the point where we should have been all along? So that's what we need to gauge as well in life, to see that maybe we didn't give them a chance to express themselves. And I see it now for both my mom and my dad. They didn't know who I was. and I didn't know much about them. They didn't care to discuss the history. There was assassination in the family in Colombia. I was born in Colombia, South America. Dad never told me about it, but he witnessed my granduncle getting shot. He was going to become president. All right. So that was a trauma that he carried all his life and never wanted to talk to anyone. That's why I say it, the resilience nourishes the soul, but you also have to nourish each other. You have to share what's broken you, what's making you fall apart, and how you got over it. And when you do that, you feel good about yourself, and it's not so painful to remember the past. We carry our past with us. Extract all the lessons, all the blessings, all the things you've overcome, and you will realize that life is worthwhile, that life can be overcome in a different way if we see how. And my mom, in the meantime, my mom had cancer, and I had become a radiation therapist. I went to medical school, but my career was over because I got hurt. Right then and there, I knew God had put me the knowledge of being a radiation therapist to help her treat the cancer. So you never know what's going to come to you or what it has to do with your life. And maybe it's years down the line and you see, wow, okay. But that's why we have to be conscious of everything we do, everything we live, and realize that there's a reason why everything presents itself. There's a reason why we go through what we do. It's a repetition to learn the lesson right. And sometimes we feel like, oh, not again. Why? Why do we have to do? And you keep saying, why? No, what is it telling me? It's reminding me to go a different route. It's reminding me to think a different way, to open my eyes, open my heart and my soul to say, okay, I don't see it. Maybe I need to get someone to look at it for me and say, no, yes, you were, but no. So anyway, that's kind of the best part about everything is there's healing. There's a healing power in telling your story. Because when you hear someone's hardship, all of a sudden the things that you thought were so very hard, that were so very difficult, become minuscule compared to how you hear other people surviving car wrecks, being in a wheelchair, whatever. It doesn't matter. So we need to go easy on ourselves, but at the same time be truthful and say, okay, I need to really lock down my belief, and maybe I wasn't believing properly because of all my limiting beliefs. What did I put in my head? But what is the reality? What is the truth of what's happening here? So you have to be creative. You have to devise a way to figure out. And I think to me, writing was the best way to be creative, because I could write down and then take a look at it and say, why did I write that? It was all clogging up my brain in here, but now that it's gone, you could burn it, you could get rid of it. It's gone. And you've released it. It's a catharsis. It's a wonderful way to realize that we can get rid of a lot of that junk in our trunk. It's funny, but at the same time, it's true. We put a lot of our stuff in our head that makes us not see the reality of life. And each one of us has the truth, but the truth is the truth and no one can change it. Anyway, so anybody have any questions? I kind of ran through this because I'm just excited to share with the world, but I definitely feel that people have many questions about resilience. So I'm opening the floor to you and or to the audience. I can
I really want to thank you for, not just sharing your knowledge.
I can barely hear you.
Oh, okay. Now can you know?
Yes.
Okay, okay. I was saying that before anyone else asks a question, I really want to, thank you for not just sharing your knowledge, but your heart with us. One thing that was deeply resonated with me was the reminder that resilience is, not just about bouncing back. It's about becoming someone new in the process.
Mm-hmm.
Each challenge we face will reshape us in a way, and we are constantly becoming, we are growing, shifting, and learning to carry both the pain and hope with us. And your story and your journey, it has reminded me that even in the moments of darkness, we are still in the motion of we are still evolving. And I think that is most beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you. And those moments of darkness, and this is where I say we plant a seed, because if you look at plants, how something beautiful pops out of the ground, they were in the dark. They couldn't see, they couldn't feel the beauty of their surroundings. And when they struggled, when they were nourished, when they were properly treated, look at what comes out. So that miracle, we are like that too. We are all a miracle. And that's something that I never knew I was a miracle. I thought you had to have a miracle happen to you to be a miracle, but I have had both. I have been with a miracle because I got raised out of that wheelchair. I don't know. I also used to wear glasses, like 3 prescriptions for my eyes. I don't wear glasses anymore. It's like all of a sudden it's getting all that stuff out of my way so I could see clearer, so I could really see the reality of life and how beautiful it is and what a miracle we each have. We have talents, we have treasures, we have passion, we have purpose, we have a mission. And if we don't know that we do all that, then we're never going to get anywhere. We're never going to strive to make our lives worthwhile.
Please take down the note that you are the miracle. You are not supposed to wait for a miracle.
That's right. That's right.
Please note down, everyone. Okay, Miss Kanvi is asking that it's really difficult to change.
I can't hear you.
Okay. There's a question that it's really difficult to change the narrative. I, I believe she's asking that narrative of the mind. She's asking how can we change that
When we say, when we have something difficult, the way we speak, like, oh, this is really hard. This is really difficult. I don't want to look at it. We're already shrinking down to not wanting to look at the big picture. Instead, say, this is a challenge. How do I go around this challenge? And this is where I say, you determine what you can control. And if you start making a list, because I do make a lot of lists, I say, okay, this is happening. How am I going to address it? What can I control? I can control how I feel, what I think, what I say. All right. So those 3 things I'm under my control. It's bad. Like the pandemic came, how can I control? I can't control that. I can't control what happened, but I can say, while all this is happening, what keeps me going? And what kept me going, I lost 70 pounds, 70 inches. I became an author. I became something completely different than what I thought was going to happen with the pandemic. I thought I was going to die. I thought I was going to die with the rest of the world. It was the end of the world. And because the old violins and the poor me and woe is life and what happened and life isn't normal. No, life is never normal. Never normal. We're the ones that make it normal by adjusting to everything that comes our way. So difficulty is understanding that there is a challenge, but get rid of all the negative talk that we innocently say, because I used to say, yo, that's terrible. But why is it terrible? How is it terrible? Is it really terrible for me or is it terrible for the world? So you start sorting and dissecting all the things that you control versus what the world is telling you to control.
narrative? So while others write their questions in the I have a question here, that for someone who is currently in the middle of the storm, what what should be the first step towards reclaiming their power? And
What's the first step? The first step is stand in front of it, be honest, be honest and say, what is it that I'm looking at? Or is it something I'm composing in my head that could be a nightmare? Okay. And most of the time, it's only a small part of our lives that makes us create this chaos. We are always in chaos and we know how to roll off of it. And yeah, that happened. It's not affecting me. I'm okay. But then when it's looking right at you, then you're like, ah, what do I do? And that book I wrote, Creative Chaos Warriors, is kind of like a guide for everyone to say, okay, yes, it's all crazy. And what am I doing? And life is terrible. And I want to go somewhere where I'm in a peaceful island. I'm on a hammock in the sun, enjoying some fruit cocktail, whatever. Not what I'm looking at. But the reality is, if I look at it right, if I look at it with deliberate steps of what I can control, you'll go back and look at it again after it's all said and done and you survive and say, I did that. I could do that. Why was I stopping myself from doing it? Because we automatically hit the brakes. And that's why I call it resilience nourishes the soul, riding over the speed bumps in life. You know, you have to, speed bumps are coming, but you're going to be up in the air and you're not going to know where you're going to land, but you're going to land. Okay. So the best thing for you to do is just hold on. It's only temporary. Everything that happens to us is only temporary. And this too shall pass. But it's it seems funny and comical when you look at the reality of what you're facing. It's not funny when you're all dark and gloomy and bummed out and depressed. I had severe depression. I had a psychiatrist. I had numerous medications I was taking. I don't take anything anymore. I have my faith. I have my passion and my purpose. And every day I am grateful to be alive, to stand in front of the world and say, I made it through yesterday. What are you bringing me tomorrow to do, Lord? And that's it. That's all we can expect. We live for the moment. Live for the moment because your moments are numbered. And if you don't enjoy what you want to enjoy now, you're never going to say one day. Don't ever say one day. No, the days are already there. Do it now. If you have a dream, if you have a hope, if you have some kind of plan, start. Just start. Just write it down, baby steps. Whatever your tiny goals are, when you start adding all those little goals that you've met, you'll get closer to where you're heading with your plan. And so it's challenging. It takes a lot of practice, but trust me, I never smiled so much in my life since all this has happened. So it feels good. It feels great. And I don't feel 66. I turned 66 at the end of this week on Saturday, but I don't feel 66. I feel more like I'm in my 20s, living the right way.
Your smile is really beautiful. And, happy belated birthday. Seeing you smile, it's really encouraging. To see someone who has gone through so much and is still so happy of what they have learned through their experiences is really encouraging and really inspiring and for all of us, not only me. So there's another question that how do you help others build resilience in a team setting?
How do I make others what?
Okay,
I'm
how
sorry.
do you help others build resilience in a team setting?
Oh, in a team setting. And this is where you have to know who you're with. Okay. Yes, you can have a team. And some people are going to send you off, go, oh, just don't worry about it. Do it tomorrow. Put it off. The people that postpone everything in life are not good guidance for anyone because they're not pursuing anything themselves, but at the same time they kind of feel, and I say we have a tendency as humans to surround ourselves with the way we feel. And not a good thing. If you're feeling down and you surround yourself with some other people that are down, they're going to bring you even more down because it's kind of like, let's see who suffered the most. And what does that do? You're feeding your brain with all these things of life going wrong. No, you don't want that in your head. You don't want that in your head. You want to surround yourself with the people that have persevered, that are dependable, that are responsible, that have a plan in life, that have a purpose. So the team is important, but you have to surround yourself with the right people. And I'm saying because of the toxicity that other people bring, and perhaps the toxic people, you could just say, okay, not now, or I'll deal with it some other how. But maybe you can help those people, because then they'll see, wow, she made it through. Tell me what it was. And this is what's happened to me. It's like, Martie, what happened? What kind of surgery did you have to make you feel this way? I said, I cleaned myself up. I got rid of all my limiting beliefs that were keeping me from seeing the truth of my life. And my life has been, I've been blessed to know 3 different languages. I know Spanish, I know English, and I studied French in high school. I understand Italian, I understand Portuguese, and all the Romance languages, but not many people get to say that. And why do I get to say it? Because I moved 49 times and I met different cultures. In meeting the different cultures, I also realize and appreciate that each and every one of us, no matter where we come from, how much we make, or who we all have the same want and the same needs: to be heard, to be recognized, to be loved, and to accomplish something. And if you have that in your head, you're going to treat people differently. You're going to be more empathetic, more compassionate, and you're going to understand it. Because I'm happy doesn't mean that everybody has to be happy with me. They're going to ask me, why are you so happy all the time? And most people think I'm drunk or on some kind of medication. It's funny, but it's true. It's true, because the people that knew me from 20, 30 years ago, they're like, whoa, what happened? What happened? Because that's the big turnaround. It's like my life went full circle, and all of a sudden I started seeing all the things I didn't see. So team is important, but you also have to know who your team is. And they have to know themselves, who they are.
There is another question, that do you think resilience is something you're born with or something you
I call it a spark. We are each, if you watch children, especially babies, they're not contaminated with limiting beliefs. They're not contaminated with experience, okay? That right there, kids, you see them in the playground. They're playing with each other. All of a sudden one gets mad at the other. They fight, and 5 minutes later they're hugging each other. They don't have that thing that sticks in their head. Well, I don't like them. They picked on me. They thought, and when we see the simplicity of children, that's why I started writing the children's books, because I saw that kids are better teachers than adults are to children. They want to learn. They want to experiment. They want to see the world through rosy colored lenses, candy. It's like being in a candy store and getting to pick out your favorite dessert. I can tell you now that I am reliving my childhood, my inner childhood, as well as my childhood. Now I feel like a kid. It's like, oh, wow, look at that puppy. Before I couldn't say that, because kids were supposed to be quiet, sitting on their hands and behaving properly. I could never express myself, and I had a lot of questions. I was a very curious child. So I recommend, please, parents, let your children ask the questions, but find the answers in appropriate ways too. And then teach them to be responsible, teach them to be curious, teach them to figure things out. And slowly but surely, they'll start building that spark into resilience. They'll start building what it is that each and every one of us are capable of doing, because that makes part of our miracle.
So there is another question, that how, and it's a long one. So how does one stop thinking about others and their thoughts about you, especially when you work together and it's for a long period of time, because you cannot completely exclude the idea of not thinking about it.
That's a hard one. It's a hard one because I used to hear all these people complain about me. I've lost a lot of jobs because people said I had too much work ethic. Excuse me. Like I made, when I was in radiation therapy, I made the other caregivers feel bad, but I wasn't doing it on purpose. I was just pursuing what I wanted to do with patients because I had been a patient so many times, and I could tell the people that healed better, did better, were the people that were treating them properly and then explaining things to them and being patient and being kind and persevering and you know, everything. So, yes, if you base your life on someone else's opinion, stop. Stop. Why? First of all, ask the hard questions. Are they paying your bills? Are they going to make your life any better? No. In fact, they're contaminating you because now you're starting to doubt yourself. This is why resilience is the biggest, most important tool that God has given us, because we can handle things better when we build resilience and when we're grateful and when we do things in a positive way, when we can change, be the change makers. You want to change the world, change yourself. You be the change. And if you're surrounded by the people that are always criticizing you, criticism is good, but constructive criticism, not destructive criticism. So always, that's why you need to know who you're dealing with, because otherwise you'll be right there in the dirt trying to dig yourself out to grow and be something. And that's not an easy way to do.
You can take down the note if you want to be the change yourself first. So, Miss Marty, I have a question. As you have mentioned that, and you believe that storytelling itself is, it's a form of healing. So, for others, how can they, start telling their stories in their way? For someone who has never written a story, so how can they start? What should be the starting point for them?
The starting point is to go back and review what has happened to you that you probably don't surround yourself with people that it's ever happened to you. And that's what happened to me. I say, oh, I moved 49 times in my lifetime. Everybody looks at me, oh, I can't move that many times. No, yeah, I didn't think so either, but I did. And so ask yourself the hard questions, but at the same time, be cognizant, be aware of what it is that you're looking at and how you're looking at it, how you're feeling when you're asking. And some of the hardest things to do is take a break, a pause. Wait a minute. There's a purpose in the pause. Stop. Your body's telling you regroup, reset. Just like the computers have to recharge and reset and reboot, we have to do the same. Our body tells us. How do I know my body tells me? When I start getting a headache, when I start getting, I can't sleep, or the thoughts are running through my head. So that's what we need to be aware of, that's keeping us from seeing the light, the truth, the reality of our lives. So it's challenging, but at the same time, it's doable. I promise you.
Yeah. Yes. Most of the things are doable. It's just that at that moment, the things seem really difficult. And when I've been through these situations, and yes, when I look back at them, I realize that yes, uh, they were not that difficult, and I can be the change. So yes. So another question is that when you are not off the track, how do you recenter yourself and regain focus?
Okay, that the pause comes in handy there. Okay, so you have a car wreck. All right. Oh my God, I can't go to work. My car doesn't work. Ah, you start adding all the things that are wrong. But you're alive. You're fine. You survived. So if you start going to the buts instead of the this is what happened, you'll start seeing how you start thinking differently because you start becoming more grateful. Definitely more grateful. Yes, a car can be replaced, but your body and your life cannot. Okay? So is it really that bad that what happened? Next time you'll pay more attention. Next time you'll be looking out for things that can prevent the very thing. And I think a lot of us, in this I know that a lot of us nowadays are plugged into the phone. We're driving around. Yeah, we can multitask. No, we can't. We can't multitask. Our brain only has one track. I don't know why we thought we could do 1,000 things at once. And then when we go back and look at all the 1,000 things we thought we were multitasking, we see, oh, I forgot that. Oh, I didn't see that. So pay attention, slow down, hit the brakes. You're in the vehicle, you control it, you drive it. If you hit a speed bump, if you crash, if you whatever, you're going to get out of it and you're going to assess the situation and look back and say, okay, we made it. Now, where do I go from here? Yes, it's going to be hard. You're going to have to find a new car and whatever, but the solutions are there and the options to resolve them are there. Sometimes we don't see them because we blocked and said, oh my God. And that's all we could say. But we blocked our own selves from seeing the solution. And it's a wonderful way to feel because when something bad happens now, it's like, okay, time out. Let me look. Okay. All right, go back. All right, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I'm alive. And that's one thing that I say a lot to myself. Okay, it's nothing is as bad as not being alive. And that pretty much defines everything I do because if you're grateful for being alive, you're going to find a way to keep being alive.
Perfectly. There's another question that sometimes I feel scared of re-experiencing. Uh, yeah, for example, depression. So, to what extent can one be resilient and read the signs of vulnerability?
Okay. The vulnerability, I'm I think I'm the owner of vulnerability because I started expressing myself, but at the same time, yes, there's been a lot of tears, there's been a lot of sweat, there's been a lot of bleeding, there's been a lot of cursing, there's been a lot of everything not good. But I had to get it out of me. I had to get it out of my system. So how do you face that adversity, especially if it repeats itself? And this is where I started seeing, okay, here we go again. Okay, I already saying it. Here we go again. This happened already. Why does it keep happening? It needs to happen until you finally see that there's another way to resolve it. And then it's a challenge, but it's not the end of the world. And yes, this is where physical well-being is important. If you're already depressed, if you're already suffering emotional breakdowns and whatever, get professional help. Pray, meditate, do things that calm your spirit, breathing in and deliberately and out. Nobody taught us how to breathe. We just kind of do it superficially. But if the real people breathe the way we were taught to breathe, it's just like a superhero. Really fill that lung up with air and then let it out. You will calm down. You will not be the same person you were when you started facing all this. I can't see. I can't. Oh my gosh, I don't know what happened. No, no, no. Because we want our brain is telling us get out of there. Resolve it as soon as possible. And what we do is we shut the door on the opportunity that we could have resolved it and come back to it again and say, here we go again. And you think like you've done everything in your power. No, you've done everything in your power to repeat the lesson, but you haven't learned it. You haven't adopted a different way to look at it. And so that's key. That is important. But if you are depressed, if you're suffering mental anguish or whatever, do get professional help because I'm not wanting to assume the responsibility to help someone that's that bad off because I know what it feels like to be that depressed because I wanted to end my life. I tried to commit suicide. So I know where they're coming from and why they're asking that, but at the same time, get the help and surround yourself with the right people. You'll find that that support that you need so importantly. Be open, read good things, just find the goodness in life, and you'll see that you'll start calming down, and maybe what you thought you saw was really bad, probably half of it had nothing to do with you. It's just something you carried with you.
One more question, that what practices or mindset shifts have helped you in the most in nurturing your own resilience?
Okay, this is where I go, my list.
Okay.
Is helping me? How is this hurting me? And half the time I just go, how is this helping me? No, I used to start with the how is this hurting me? And I could name every reason, every excuse, every purpose, everything going wrong because I was a fatalist. Everything was bad. Everything that happened to me was bad. No. Okay. I quit looking at it that way. I say, how is this helping me? It's showing me an opportunity to learn something differently. It's showing me an opportunity to go back and look and see if I really resolved the thing that I thought I had resolved. So you start asking yourself hard questions, but journal, write them down, make it a purpose to dump that brain dump into the paper, and you will see that half of the stuff you write, why did I say that? What was I thinking? What was I thinking? That's right. You weren't thinking. You were not thinking. You were just blah, 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 blah. Life is noisy. If we can calm the noise down to be calm about what we do, we will definitely resolve a lot of things quicker.
I think I'll definitely try that. So there's one more question, and yeah, it's more on the serious part. That when uh, did you last time think that now I should die? It's my second last time, maybe. So it's more of a question as well as a statement. I am not sure,
Okay,
but
now
yeah,
I will
it's
say, you
yeah.
guys see me all happy, and that doesn't mean I'm happy all the time. No,
Okay.
I just get enthusiastic because I'm reminding myself of what all I've been through, and I'm alive. But recently, I actually 13 months ago, I got diagnosed with three pinched nerves, and it made me very upset. Why? Because I was a personal trainer. I became a personal trainer at 62. Who knew that was going to happen? Okay, so that's some of the miracles I'm telling you that happen, and you don't know why, but you just know that there's a reason for it. So I became a personal trainer. All of a sudden, I have three pinched nerves. My back went out. I started limping, and I'm like, oh God, I'm going to be in a wheelchair again. I started hearing myself play the old records, and I'm like, no, no, there's something that's got to be done. And I did. And now what I'm doing aquatherapy. I'm swimming in the water, doing exercise. And I was like, okay, yeah. And so now I feel like I'm back on track in a different way, some way I never expected to be. But that's the thing, is all of a sudden you discover something new, and it makes you want to keep pulling and pushing to do better and change the outcome of what's something that you can't change or control. So it's challenging, it's doable, and I think everyone has that ability when they have clarity, when they're calm, and when they're resourceful. If you're not any of that, talk to me. I'll get you on the right path.
There is one more question. That have you ever reached a point where your resilience broke, and what did that moment teach you about your limits and your identity?
Yes, all the time. All the time. I'm like, gosh, resilience ambassador. What a joke. Because and then this is where humor is so important. The humor is my saving grace. And I say, okay, Martie, you're a resilience ambassador. Yes, you have three pinched nerves. Oh, now you can't be a personal trainer. La, la, la. No, You're still alive. You're still capable of thinking. You can read, you can see, you can talk, you can share. So when you start adding all the you cans, that little you couldn't for the temporary time that you saw, you relived or reviewed something that you already knew was terrible, separate them, remove that past, put yourself in the present and say, what can I do from here? What can I handle from here? And you will see that you're not going back to the old ways. You'll find a new way. But it's practice. It's practice and do and always be grateful. Gratitude is like the number one thing for me, to be grateful about everything that happens to me, even the bad stuff, because it's taught me to be strong. It's taught me to be resilient. It's taught me to bounce back and bounce forward and grow and share and write and do everything I'm doing. And I just want God to slow down the clock so that I still have time to leave everything I want to leave in my legacy. And it's an awesome feeling. It is very, very comforting to know that you can feel that way from a person that used to not feel anything good about anybody.
Okay, so we'll take one last question,
Okay.
and that is, can resilience sometime lead to emotion suppression, where people hide their true feelings just to appear strong?
And this is where you're wanting to impress the audience and not yourself. Impress yourself. You have to love yourself. And that was, I think, the biggest key ingredient I was missing my whole 62 years. I didn't love myself. I didn't know that that was a thing to do. I thought it was arrogant. How, oh, no, it's not all about me. No, see, we kind of just threw it out way out the ballpark instead of saying, okay, it's not all about me. It's about all of us. But what can I control? What part do I get to add to the world to make it better? And when you see it that way, it changes the way you look at things. And like I said, everyone's in a different place. Everyone goes at their own pace, but it's all possible to change how we look at things, how we react to things. And the most important thing is, remember that. How do you react? Because if you react in anger, you're going to stay angry. And maybe it was something that nobody around you had anything to do with, but it made you angry. And what you're going to do, you're going to project that anger without willing or on purpose to the rest of the world around you. And then all of a sudden, everyone's mad at you. And so you're adding fuel to the fire that didn't need to start. The fire you need to start is within you, to burn in your heart that I could do this. I want to do this. I'm going to get past this. If I can't do it myself, I'm going to find the right help to do it. If I can't find the right help to do it, I'm going to take my time and learn. But don't be so hard on yourself. We are our worst critics.
No, Nori.
Okay.
Okay. So with that, I think I'll close the session. And before, as we come close to, we come close to, this beautiful session, I just want to take a moment to sincerely thank you, Miss Martie, for pouring so much of your heart and wisdom and lived experiences into this space. Miss Martie, seeing you smile now, so full of light after all your pain and adversity you walked through, it's nothing short of inspiring. Your presence is a living proof that even after the deepest storms, it is, possible not only to rise, but also to shine. And
That's
to
it.
everyone here today, let that be your lesson. Okay. Healing is not just about erasing the past, it's about honoring it and choosing who you become because of it. If Miss Martie can carry such grace and hope through it all, I think so can we.
Amen.
So yeah, so let's carry this energy forward, with resilience, with compassion, and with courage to, keep becoming something more than we are today. So thank you everyone for being a
Amen.
part of this moment with Women Ascension.
I want
Yes,
to
Miss.
share a
Okay,
blessing. Okay.
sure, ma'am.
All right. So may your roots grow deep, even in dry seasons. May your story be a lantern for others through the dark. And may your soul always remember you were never lacking, you were only becoming. Write a letter to yourself. Write a letter to yourself and say, how have I been treating myself? What have I been missing? What don't I see? And you're going to start changing that letter and you're going to start seeing things that you didn't realize before. But I promise you, your life doesn't have to continue in despair. It can definitely change. It's up to you to want to do the changing. It's up to you to believe in yourself and be the miracle we all are. God bless.
Thank you so much, Miss Martie. Everyone, thank you so much for being a part of this moment with Women Ascension and with Miss Martie. Until next time, take care and keep on growing, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank
much, Miss Martie.
You're welcome.
It was an absolute pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you.
You are such a graceful power and inspiration to all. I really, 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 truly was inspired by you. And I really hope to keep on smiling. Just have you been smiling throughout the session. Yeah, I would truly take that as a lesson that I want to practice every day.
There you go. There you go. See, you learned something. I didn't know I was teaching you anything, but that's good. That's great because we can just the smallest little change, we can adapt and start being differently and feeling differently and definitely see the world with bigger eyes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Okay.
much, everyone. Hope to see everyone next time. Thank you.
Bye-bye.